Hello there and welcome to a new video. In this one we are going to be discussing Godot 4.3 Release Candidate 1 that, as you can see, was launched literally yesterday. So today we will actually get into this update, take a look at everything that is released. So let's get started right away. So as you may already know, this is the final stage of development for any kind of Godot version. This means that after maybe 1, 2, 3 releases of 3 release candidates, we should be having like the official release. So in this, yes, we are super close to the actual Godot 4.3 version. And well, they're actually saying that all features are in place, the most critical regressions have been tackled. So it means that indeed it is supposed to be quite a stable release that can be used. Of course, as always, if you really want to create your own projects with these release candidate versions, alpha, beta versions, whatever, you always have to make sure that you have some kinds of backup of your project, because even though they say they are confident that it's ready for general use, well, there could always be some issues. And actually this is something that they advise over here. So in this first release candidate, most things that were done were basically related to fixing some regressions, to finish up polishing some new features. But well, the actual list of new things that are coming officially in Godot 4.3 is in this blog post that we can click over here. Now we do see here all the highlights that this version contains. As you can see, we have tons and tons of them. We have actually checked them previously in the channel, the most important ones, because as always in versions there are tons of new features in literally every single area in the engine. But well, I try to narrow down the most important ones that I believe were the most important. So yes, of course, in this release candidate there aren't going to be massive changes. For example, here we see a change that has to do with a feature that was introduced with this Godot 4.3 version with the parallax 2D node. Well, then you are also going to be having pixel snap for this, and I think that if we click over here we should even have more information about how this would work. Yes, exactly. So now in parallax 2D nodes you will also have the pixel snap option. So yes, of course, it is not something that will completely change the version, because we are in a pretty final stage of the development, so they are not going to be adding huge stuff, just a small thing to the existing features, to the features that they were meant to add to this version. You can still take a look at the list. As you can see, it's not super long. I actually took the time to read literally everything, and I didn't find anything worth mentioning here. So yes, if you want to take a look at all the new things in this release candidate, you can do it, but they're most about general fixes about stuff, polishing existing features as here. So we can basically go ahead and download the version. Okay, in my case I'm in Windows, so I will download it over here. Oh well, here we are in Godot 4.3 release candidate 1, as you can see. So let's start taking a look at the features that were introduced in 4.3 beta 1. Well, of course, they will continue release candidate 1, maybe with more polish. First of all, in the settings, here you can enable network mode. In this case, I have it online, but by default, it's going to come in offline. And this will check automatically for new updates. As I am here in the latest version, well, I am not going to have any updates. But here, let me open this other Godot version that I have installed. That is Godot. Well, this is the stable version, so it's not going to tell me to update. But I believe that if I download something like beta 1, for example, it should tell me that there is a new update. As you can see, here I have this. But in order for this to pop up, we have to make sure that in the settings, the network mode is set to be online. So here when I click, it will take me, well, in this case it's not working. They are having tons of issues still with this issue, and we are in the first release candidate, so I hope this can actually work. But well, we were able to actually see that, well, it is checking for existing updates. Then also here in the settings, you have the directory naming convention. So basically this will determine how your directory, your project path is named. If you select here, well, you have here tons of conventions that you can use. For example, we use Pascal case. And when I create a new project, as you can see, the project path, the project folder, is going to be following that naming convention. So there we have Pascal case that has the first letter of every word in capital letter, or I could use, I don't know, camel case, and there it will be following that naming convention. So these are quick things that aren't going to be changing the engine a lot, but that are still worth mentioning. Now I will also mention here some of the new features inside of Godot. I will add it to the scene because most of the changes are related to the 2D engine, at least in terms of new nodes. I will also have here small changes in the UI for creating a node, as you can see. So we have the change here in the TileMap and TileMap layer. So now the TileMap is marked as deprecated, which means that basically, well, it will not receive new features, and that maybe it is going to be deleted in a future version. Okay, so if we add TileMap, and I will also add here TileMap layer, we're going to notice like not huge differences, but just that now for every TileMap layer that you have over here, well, now you should have every separated TileMap layer nodes. So this will basically allow you to have better control over the tilemaps. So well, they still use tile sets, of course, as they do in tilemaps as well. So it's not a big change. And actually, if you have here, let me create here more layers. Okay, so now I have 3 layers. Let me, for example, here, you can quickly convert this into tilemap layers by going here to the Manage Object Properties button. Sorry, there I didn't want to click there. I firstly need here a tile set, so I will quickly create here a tile set, and I will load in here the Godot icon. So now here in the tile map section here, on this other button that is, well, the same one as here, I will extract tilemap layers as individual tilemap layer nodes, and there I will have automatically created the 3 layers. My 3 layers were empty, that's why here I have no tilemap, but if you actually had some content inside of your layers, you would see them, okay? So that is for the tilemap. Then other change has to do with how you create parallax, okay? So to create parallax, as you can see here, we have a new one, parallax 2D. And it says here, experimental. This node is meant to replace parallax background and parallax layer. So the idea is that soon parallax background and parallax layer, as you are supposed to create parallax until this version, they're maybe going to be changing, deleted, whatever. So how you would do this in the past would be parallax background, and inside of here you would add each of your parallax layer. But now you can have over here your parallax 2D, and as you can see, this will combine like both functionalities that you have here, things related to the scroll. Okay, and as you can see, we have here scroll scale, scroll offset, we have here repeat, so they are quite similar. And then in terms of the parallax layer, we can here basically also set everything that we need. Oh, well, of course, here instead of your parallax layer, you should add the corresponding sprites to load in. So and here you will still need to, of course, use this sprite as well. So here the idea is to combine these 2D nodes instead of having 2 different nodes in just one node. And here, well, you could have the sprites. Okay, so the sprites still has to be used, but well, you don't have to use the parallax background nor parallax layer anymore. Here in the channel, I have already created full completely videos dedicated to this because there are more things that could be explained and for you to understand. So you can check them out. Here I have this one about the tile map, and then this one about the parallax 2D. Also, something else that received small updates is groups. Okay, they will continue in the same way in terms of doing stuff through code, basically getting nodes in a group. But now the way of categorizing them and creating these groups and then assigning them to nodes has changed. Now you have scene groups and global groups. This is quite self-explanatory, okay? Scene groups are the ones that can only be assigned in a certain scene, and global groups are the ones that can be assigned in any other scene. So for example, I will add here, and you also have like a new interface, and even if you make them global, you can write here a description. If they aren't global, you can't, as you can see. So for example, I will create here 2D, okay? So this node is inside of the 2D, and this is a scene group. So now if I create here, for example, a 3D scene, I am not going to be able to assign that group. I would be able to, for example, create a new group, 3D, and that's going to be assigned. And of course here in this other scene is not going to be possible to access it. But now here I will create a global group and I will name it node, for example. Okay, and here I am going to be able to access it. And as you have seen, now instead of having to type manually the type of the group that you want to assign, you can just check here this checkbox. And finally, you can also copy the name of the group, so it is easier to use it inside of the code. So yes, indeed, this is the most important information about Godot 4.3 release candidate 1. So I will always be updating you with the latest news about this version. When the first version is released, if there is a second release candidate or wherever, I will be here creating a video just for you. So I will see you in the next one, and bye bye.